Hey everyone, Big Pauly back for a brand new video. It's that time of year again. It's Halloween. Yes, for the last month I've been watching a few horror films. Not as many as I'd hoped, not as many as last year, but I've still done not that well really. But we're going to go through them anyway, and going to talk a little bit about them and what I thought of them. Some of them are actually first time watches that I've actually not seen before, and a few others that I have seen that I haven't reviewed. Okay, so first of all, we're going to kick it off with a franchise that has 5 films in it, with a 6th film coming next year, I believe. So yeah, let's kick it off. Let's kick off the scary reviews. Ooh.
Happy Halloween!
Okay, some previous years I've kind of like watched a film, then I've done a little review straight after because it's fresh right up here. I decided, with my recent reviews that I'll just kick back, have fun, enjoy it, and just try to remember what the film was about. So it's very raw. There's going to be hopefully no edit cuts in this. So we're just going to get straight into it and talk about it. Oh, by the way, films that I saw at the beginning of the month, I've had to rewatch the trailers to remind myself what the film was about. Yes, that bad. Okay, first up then, Final Destination. Yes, fantastic film. This started a franchise that's got 5 films in it. And it's basically about this group of kids, well, a group of kid adults in each of the films that outwit this big disaster, and then death comes after them and kills them one by one in order of how they would have died in the film. This is the one that kicked it all off. This was the airplane that exploded mid-air. Oh, I haven't seen it. You spoiled it. Yeah, and then we get to see what happens to all the individual people. This is a really good excuse to kill people in very creative ways. Whatever you can think. It must be brilliant just sitting in the writer's room and just thinking, right, okay, how do we kill this person that we haven't done before? It's a really good film. The cast is great in it. It's got, is it Ali Larter? I think it's got Ali Larter. Devon Sawa, Kerr Smith, Sean Williams Scott, that's it. Yeah, that was the first film. So really good, some good kills in there. And I just liked it. I just liked the way that it went. Exactly. What we got next? We got a slash above the original, Final Destination 2. This one is actually my favourite. Yes, this is the freeway crash. And tell me, for all those people that actually drive cars, if you're driving down the motorway and you pass a lorry and it's got lots of logs on the back of it, tell me you don't floor it to get past it. I bloody well do, every single time. Yes, and that was quite horrific, that crash, and very bloody and very fiery. Yeah, it's really good. And it's just the same. It's the same thing. It's the same plot. For the same, well, not exactly the same plot, but you know what I mean. It's the same story. A load of individuals cheat death. Death comes after them. How they were each going to die. It's the same. You do that for every single film in the franchise. And it works. It does. Yeah, Final Destination 2, my favourite one. I bet you never guess what's coming next. Final Destination 3. And this, again, really good one. Roller coaster. And this probably scared crap tons of people that like to go to theme parks and ride in roller coasters, and put a lot of people off. This has actually got Mrs. Ewan McGregor, hasn't it? I'm trying to think of her name. Oh God, I can't even read it because it's Mary Elizabeth Winstead. There we go. Yes, she's like the lead character in it, and there she is. Yeah, and it's just the same thing. It's just the same. Death chasing them, accident after accident, and there are some really good accidents, some very creative ones in all of these films. I remember the kid that where the pigeons hit the window in one of the films. I think it might be the second film, and a sheet of glass came down and just squashed him. uh, it's not very often that you actually go to see a film, you sit in a cinema with a lot of people and you laugh at people dying. Any other film, it'd be a bit twisted. Yes, but it's very creative. The final destination in 3D. This is Speedway, I believe. Yeah, this is the one at the Speedway. It wasn't. It was good, but it wasn't as impactful as some of the other big disasters at the beginning of the films where it set it up. But it still followed the same path again. Now, this came around about the time of the 3D reinvention, and they wanted to show that. So if you don't watch this film in 3D, it looks a bit weird because there's people poking things in the screen and clearly seeing things fly past you. So it's best to watch this in 3D if you can. Unfortunately, I didn't. I would have loved to, but my projector is not exactly in the position where I can just watch a 3D film at the moment. It was still fun, but it's really noticeable with the 3D, and it kind of like takes you out of the film a bit, knowing that it's intentional to watch it in 3D. But it's still a good film. Still a good film. And the last one, well, for now anyway, is Final Destination 5. This was also in 3D. But it wasn't as noticeable as the previous one. I think they, settled it down a little bit for this film. This one was the suspension bridge. That was a good one. The thing with this one is that it's kind of this is a prequel. Not everybody thinks of it as a prequel. It's actually a sequel to the other films, but it's a prequel to the original film. Very cleverly done at the end. I don't know if anybody saw it coming. I don't ever remember anticipating and knowing what was coming, but it was very cleverly done. Yeah, so there we go. Final Destination 5. There is another film coming next year. I believe Tony Todd is in the film as well. But apparently it doesn't follow the same formula as all these. So I think they're going a little bit different, but it will still be very interesting to see what happens. Okay, so that's the Final Destinations. Next up, we have the Amityville Horror with a very shiny slipcase. Yeah, this is a very first time watch for me with James Brolin and Margot Kidder and Rod Steiger. This is a classic from, is it 1978? Something like 1978 when it happened. But this is a 2023 4K remaster. And it's about Margot Robbie and James Brolin who buy this big old house with two big window eyes. There we go. For a really good price. But there's a reason why it was really cheap. Because there was like murders that happened there before and no one wants to buy it. But they're thinking, good price. You can't buy a house that cheap these days. And they decided to move in. They're not the only ones that were actually there, because you've got like spirits and you've got the dead, echoes of the dead from when the family was killed there. And it starts to take over James Brolin, and he starts to become all manic and homicidal, and yeah, it's really good. Here we go. Very nice. It is one of the old classic films. I didn't think I would like it as much as I did, but you're not going all bells and whistles with this. It's old 1970s horror, so it just gets to the point. But I really did enjoy that film. I also watched, I'll put a little picture up here. I also watched the 2005 version with Deadpool himself and Melissa George. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds. That was really good. Although this is a classic, I kind of prefer the 2005 version because it's more modern and there was better kills, there was better scares in it. Chloe Grace Moretz still, brilliant in it, even though she was really young. And I think Ryan Reynolds was a bit more sinister than how James Brolin was in the previous film. But they're still two great films. But for me, I think the 2005 film has just a little edge over the original 70s film. But they are still great films to watch. Obviously, the original Amityville Horror was a product of its time. So it relies on scares and it relies on the audience. I think the original film had a few pacing issues and it was a bit cheesy in some places with some dialogue, and I kind of felt there's a bit of Psycho vibes in there as well, especially with the music. But it was still a great film, and they were two great films. I just preferred the 2005 film just a little bit more. Next up, we have a film called Cobweb. It's not about spiders, that's to come. Yes, this is about a kid that hears banging coming from the walls in his bedroom, and he tells his mum and he tells his dad, Anthony Starr, old Homelander, and they don't believe him, and it's just all your imagination and all that kind of stuff. But it does relate to some murder or some accident that happened in a house down the road. And there's something off about his parents. They seem strict, but they seem like intruders. And it gets to the end, and you eventually find out why, and you find out what relation they have to this banging on the walls. It's a little bit tricky to explain without going too much into it, but I thought it was good. The performances were good. Lizzie Kaplan and Anthony Starr were brilliant in it, especially Anthony Starr. There he is there. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good little horror film. Most of these horror films are like 90 minutes, so easy to get through when you've got a spare hour and a half. Next up, Art the Clown. Yes, now I'd already seen the first of the Terrifier films, which was kind of a very low budget film, and it was about 80 minutes or something like that. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I thought Art the Clown was a classic character. He's right up there with Pennywise and characters like that, and Freddy Krueger and other horror classics. And then I was looking forward to watching the second one. I did get round to seeing it. The second one was a lot longer. It was like, 2.5 hours or something like that, or 2 hours, 20 minutes. Obviously a lot more gore, a lot more action. It follows this young woman and her brother. I think it was her brother, wasn't it? It was her brother, as they try to outwit Art the Clown and stay alive. There was a fantastic scene in a laundrette, and there's also there's a lot a mini a mini Art the Clown as well, a mini, like a little girl. It was bloody creepy, really creepy. Yeah, some really good kills in this. There was actually two that really got me. I mean, the one that everybody talks about, of course, is the bedroom scene, and that was pretty brutal. That was pretty brutal, but it didn't shock me as much as being sawn in half while you're hanging upside down. But it was with the one in the public toilet. That was pretty nasty, that one. Yeah. And I've been trying to get to see Terrifier 3 at the cinema. And it's just trying to find the time. Not the time, but trying to time it right. Because at the moment, they're only showing after 10 o'clock at night. And I don't go out at night. I don't go out after 6 o'clock in the evening. I won't explain why, but I become very hairy. So I very rarely go out in the evening. But if it's still showing this coming weekend, I might make an exception. There's even a midnight showing on Saturday this coming Saturday, yeah. So if it's 9 o'clock, maybe I'll do a 9:30, 10 o'clock one. It'll have to be this weekend when I don't have to get up for work in the morning and when I don't mind. So if I can do it, I will. This Friday, I'm going to watch Hugh Grant in Heretic. I don't know why I want to call it Heretic. Heretic. That looks good. Yeah, but I might... If it times it... No, because I'll watch that in the afternoon, won't I? Yeah, I just have to have a look at the times and see if I can find a time where I can slot both of them in. Maybe I'll do one on Friday night, one on Saturday night. Or Friday day, Saturday night, something like that. I'll work it out anyway. Terrifier, yeah. Really good. Enjoyed both of these films. The second film, definitely the better one. Looking forward to seeing the third one. Don't know if I'll need a sick bag. Probably not. I mean, I'm not the most hardcore horror fan. You know that. I've never really gone to horror films over the years that I grew up. Probably I was put off by watching Salem's Lot when I was about 10, when that big white face appeared and scared the crap out of me and I fell off the sofa. And then after that, I never really watched many horror films. So I've missed a lot over the years, but films like that, I would have thought would really crap me up, but it's more comedy. It's comedy horror. And you just have to laugh at all these people being decapitated. Otherwise you go insane. What's next? Next up is a film from Eli Roth, Thanksgiving, which this was fun. This was a fun film. This actually gave me vibes of like the 90s horror films, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, that kind of thing. And it all kicks off from this like Thanksgiving, Black Thursday, wasn't it? Was it Black Thursday? Brown Friday? Brown Thursday? Black Friday? There's a colour in it. Yeah, when they all go out to like Walmart and do loads of shopping at like midnight and wait for the doors to open. We used to see American Blu-ray hunters do it all the time. And I'm sure it's Black Friday, isn't it? It's Black Friday, yeah. And this is set at a place called Rightmart, I think it is. And there's this... Everybody's trying to get in there when the doors open and there's just death. People trampling on people and gore and death and all kinds of stuff happening. And then it goes forward a little bit and we have this killer that's going around killing all the people that were in relation to that night. And we don't know who it is. And I actually didn't think it was the person I thought it was. I thought it was a particular person and it didn't end up being them. So that was a little bit of a surprise. But for some people, they might have got it. They might have got it straight away. Yeah, so it's got kills. It's got kind of like, in a way, Final Destination, because this killer is going after all these different people that were involved in this incident, so trying to kill them one by one. So it kind of like follows that similar type of path. And it's got old McDreamy from Grey's Anatomy. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. If you ever want to see what a person being cooked alive is like in an oven, you watch that film. Next up, we have Smile. Yeah, I thought I'd rewatch this before going to see the second film, which I really enjoyed. First time I watched this film, I kind of slagged it off. I think I might have given it a 4 out of 10, 3 or 4 out of 10. Because for me, I was really annoyed because the best scare was actually ruined in the trailer. But when I rewatched this, I knew the scare was coming. It still made me jump though. So it did its job, you know. There was an amount of time between last seeing it and seeing it now, and I wasn't expecting what to happen. I knew it was coming. I knew what happened, but I kind of like forgot how it was happening. But I enjoyed this a lot more, and I've redone my rating for it. I think I might have given it a 7. I think I gave this one a 7, and I gave the new one a 7.5. With Naomi, yeah, and yeah, I enjoyed the new one a little bit more because I liked the character, and she was brilliant in it. But yeah, this is a lot better than how it was, how I remember it. Next up, we have Tarot. Not Tarot, Tarot. Yeah, and again, this kind of like follows the same path as Final Destination in a way. They do some tarot readings. There's this group of kids that, well, young adults, that they're renting a house. I think they're renting this house in the country, and they're in the basement, and they find this old box, or they find these old tarot cards, and they decide to do a reading with all of them, and you know, see if they can tell what's going to happen to certain people. And unfortunately, there's this kind of like demon thing that targets them and goes after them one by one, according to their tarot reading, their horoscope reading. So in a way, it kind of follows the same like sequence that films like Thanksgiving and Final Destination did. It's still a good film. I wouldn't say it was brilliant, but it was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable watch. Yeah, I thought it was a fun film. Fun film. Okay, what we got next? Oh yeah, next we have Sting. Yeah, nothing to do with the place. This I was humming and hawing to watch this a few times because it's to do with spiders. I can't stand spiders. Oh dear me. Although I can watch 8-legged freaks, no problem. The bigger the spider, the better, actually. Yeah, not the small ones with the long, creepy legs and yeah. And that's why I had a problem with arachnophobia when that opened up. Yeah. And this is about this is basically about like a meteor that crashes to Earth, and it brings this life form to Earth and finds its way to this house with this little girl and her family, and she basically kind of like looks after it and feeds it, and the whole film is kind of like set in this apartment block where you've got the family, then you've got other relatives of the family also living in there, and I think the father was like the janitor to like the building, and so he did all the odd jobs and stuff like that. The only thing is with this spider, it starts to grow at a higher, you know, rate than it would normally do until it is absolutely massive. And it goes after people as well. You know, it doesn't just sting them; it just devours them and sometimes crawls inside their mouths. Ugh. Yeah. And there's a bit of a fight at the end in like air vents and stuff like that. It's how it's traveling through room to room, going through these air vents. And I think there was a kill with a dog, wasn't there? There was a dog in it. Yeah, and a parrot or something. But I saw this at the beginning of the month. But I really enjoyed this film. It was a little bit slow to start with in some places. It got really good after like the first 45 minutes or so. But I did enjoy it, and I wasn't scared of the spider. And yeah, really had fun with that one. We got one more. I know, that is it. And you know, it's not easy trying to watch films when you know, have a full-time job and you do YouTube and you go Blu-ray hunting and you take your dad out to restaurants and crap like that. It's not easy trying to fit in too many films. But life gets in the way. That's how it is. So we just have to watch stuff when we can. And this is the last one that I watched last night. This is Orphan. Not Little Orphan Annie. Awful Annie. This is the complete collection, but I watched the first film. Now, the second film is a prequel. And you would think, well, why not just watch the prequel first? And I'm glad I didn't, because people have said if you watch the prequel first, it kind of like, it will ruin the first film. So I'm glad I watched it. And this is about this family, Vera Farmiga, I think it is. She's in like all the Insidious and Conjuring and that. And her and her husband, they've got a couple of kids. They've got a little boy and they've got a little girl. The little girl is deaf. So it's all sign language and stuff like that. And they lost another kid. They lost a daughter years before. And they decide to go to this orphanage and take one of the kids off their hands. Yeah, adopt an orphan girl from this orphanage. And she seems nice and very well spoken. She's good with art. She's pleasant. She dresses a little bit extraordinary, you know, like 1800 or something, and she gets the mick taken out of her at school. But she's also got a dark side, and she starts to cause injuries to some members of the family and also some kids at school. And it gets darker and darker as it goes on. And then it gets really, I Know What You Did Last Summer vibes and that kind of stuff. And Vera Farmiga is not totally trusting the later the film gets on, and she thinks, she knows there's something off, there's something wrong, but the husband is, oh no, she's just fitting in and that kind of stuff. And Vera Farmiga has had like alcohol problems in the past, and she needs to go to rehab and all that kind of stuff. I want to go to rehab, baby. But I thought this was really good. Yeah. She, absolutely brilliant. She was absolutely brilliant. And I love the twist. I love the little twist at the end. I never saw that coming. I thought they were just going to lock... I'm not going to say what it is. I thought they were just going to lock her up or something, or take her back to the orphanage. I love what they did with the twist on this. And it was unexpected. And she's really talented. This actress is really talented. And I can't wait to actually watch the prequel now, because I want to go back and see how this began and how everything was created. You know, what happened at the beginning for her to get to the point in the first film. So I thought it was bloody good. Really enjoyed it. And yeah, I definitely didn't see that little twist coming at the end. Brilliant. So there we go. That is it. That is all the films that I have seen in the month of October. It's not a huge stack. There we go. But it's a good amount of films, considering I don't watch films that often. I might have a big collection, but getting around to watching films is a different matter. So I'm happy that I've managed to see that lot. And some good first time watches there. Yeah. So I hope you did enjoy this little video. And if you did, like it by giving it some thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, comment and share. What go-to horror films do you watch in October every year? I know there are films that I've not covered, like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th and stuff like that, which I would love to have got in before the 31st. But unfortunately, time, you know, sometimes messes about with you and you don't get a chance to watch everything that you plan. That's why I can't plan to watch certain things during the month, because I know there'll be things that get in the way. Yeah, so hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great Halloween, everybody. I know I will with Lulu and Claire. We've got our big Halloween do, which there will be a video for that. But until next spooky season, fantastic, and thank you for watching Big Pauly's Scary Reviews. Ooh.